Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone is safe and taking care during these really tough times that we're all going through. My name is Pranali, and I'm from the Broadcast India show organized by Nürnberg Messe India. And I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you here today. Before we begin, we would like to share an important update with all of you today. Um, Due to the global health pandemic that we're all seeing, grappling the world, and the subsequent restrictions that have been imposed on travel and business operations all over the world, the Broadcast India show this year has taken a decision to transition to a digital model. So we will be going digital. We take pleasure in inviting all of you to participate and attend at the Broadcast India Show 2020 We Go Digital Edition, which will be held as an online event from the 29th to the 31st of October 2020. This show will be a part of Asia's Broadcasting and Infotainment Show, ABIS, which is the singular platform for the production, post-production, management, delivery, satellite, and content industry. This cluster of shows, which is the Broadcast India Show, the SCAT India Show, and the Content India Show, encapsulates the entire infotainment ecosystem, and the We Go Digital Edition promises to be an online platform that ensures the industry remains connected to source business opportunities even under the current economic uncertainties from the comfort of your home or office. Now, getting back to why we're here today. Welcome to our webinar on EVO, the Ultimate Shared Storage Workflow Server, empowering collaborative post-production from anywhere, powered by Studio Network Solutions. Let's get right to it and introduce our speakers for today, starting with Mr. James NG. He's the Head of Sales Asia at Studio Network Solutions. With more than 3 decades of experience in the media industry, James brings a unique perspective to every project that he is involved in. Creating content in the early 90s using various analog formats, he has witnessed firsthand the challenges of digitizing our entertainment. James brings the breadth of his knowledge to every SNS customer so they can focus on creating. Joining James today is Mr. Ryan Stoutenborough, who is the President of Studio Network Solutions. Ryan has been a leader for SNS for more than 18 years and president for over a decade. His passion for innovation and his deep understanding of the needs of broadcast, VFX, post-production, and professional video and audio teams worldwide has helped build SNS into the leading media technology company that it is today. Before I hand over to Ryan, just one note to all our attendees. We will be having a Q&A session at the end of this, so please feel free to drop us your questions in the Q&A section at the bottom of your screens. Ryan, over to you.
Thanks, Pranali. Good afternoon, namaste. I'm coming to you live from my quarantine cave. So today, we appreciate everyone's attendance and being here. I promise we'll make it worth your time. We've got some truly innovative workflow shared storage solutions that I'm sure will impress you. So stick around through the whole thing, please. So EVO, we like to call it the ultimate shared storage workflow server. Why? It's because it empowers collaborative production from anywhere. So, you know, so right now we'll just kind of go through the agenda for the rest of the presentation. We'll go through kind of a quick origin of where we came from. And we'll go through some of the facets that make up how we redefine workflow, what our customers say, some user stories. We'll go through all the product, all the solutions in high-level detail, but enough detail to really give you something to chew on. And then we'll go through some Q&A. So our origin story. SNS, Studio Network Solutions. We started in a multi-room production facility back in 1998. And that's where we come from. We come from a production environment where it's not just an IT solution that we've put together and that we have a passion for bits and bytes. We have a passion for media production. We have a passion for content and being creative. we've built solutions that we want to use. The beginning of what we've done came out of necessity. We built a multi-room production facility over 20 years ago and ran into problems. We wanted to have the ability to centralize all of our media so we can jump from one room to another, because some rooms have, nicer screens or more equipment or different equipment, or this room is booked or that room is booked. So back then, the technology was pretty scarce, and basically what we ended up doing was making a solution that really did not exist to the production community. Once we realized what we had, we did a trade show. We went and did one of the bigger trade shows and showed off what we were doing, and it got the attention of Technicolor. Technicolor ended up seeing what we were doing. They couldn't believe it because it was pretty wild, the performance numbers that we were getting compared to everything else that they had their hands on. And so we said, well, bring your content, come to our office, and we'll load it up, and you tell us if it works. And long story short, they gave us a nice big check, and that was the beginning of what we do. So 22 years later, SNS has been serving over 70 countries worldwide. We've grown substantially. We have representation and installers and support on every major continent. Well, all continents are major. So what sets us apart from the rest of the herd? It's purpose built for media production. Again, it's not data center IT based storage. These are workflow servers that have workflow tools that accelerate the production environment. We do full in-house development, and we make the hardware and we make the software. So that means we have full control over every aspect, and that means that we can really purpose build and tune these solutions for the needs of 4K, doing audio post, doing VFX, and things like that. So it's specific to those environments and not just off-the-shelf hardware and bits and bytes. So the other thing that kind of sets us apart are our professional services. So what that means is support. That means install. That means ongoing, accessible assistance whenever you need anything. We test these systems in real-world environments. Our lab consists of 30 plus workstations, from anything from Cinema 4D to Baselight to Avid to Final Cut to Adobe Suite, and we actually test these systems in those real-world environments with real sessions, real projects, long form, short form, high edit density. These aren't, we're not just using a bit rate calculator and spitting things out. One of the things you'll notice about what is different about the way how we do business or how we solve problems is that we are more forward with stream counts than we are necessarily with like megabytes per second, because at the end of the day, when you're editing, when you have a timeline with many layers, it's more about how many layers can I get. So when we do testing, we walk away with how many streams you can do real time while everyone else is doing multiple streams real time. So we understand those real world environments, and that's really what makes a big difference in our systems and the satisfaction rate of our partners and customers. So again, what sets us apart, furthering on that, EVO is it's high-speed collaborative editing, VFX, and finishing. We have systems designed specifically for OpenEXR, DPX, specifically designed for transcoding, designed for multi-user editing, simultaneously without dropping frames. EVO is media asset management. And by that, I mean ShareBrowser. ShareBrowser is our app that we've developed in-house that encompasses quite a lot of different workflows. But EVO is media asset management. That comes with every system. EVO is backup and replication. So you're also getting the ability to do replication, automation, backup, all within the same box. EVO is cloud, AI, and remote work from home solutions. During these challenging times of the pandemic, where we were all once working in a big building together, everyone's now scattered and working from home or working from somewhere else, but we're no longer in the same building. There was certainly a trend in that with multi-geographic workflows prior to COVID, but this is clearly accelerated the situation. So we've got several work from home or work from anywhere solutions that we've developed specifically to meet the needs of today's environment. And those are called Slingshot and Nomad and VPN. And it's really pretty fascinating how we've enabled a lot of companies and a lot of production teams to continue to create content and meet production deadlines while working from home. It's been very exciting being a part of that, solving those problems. EVO is performance. It's 8K up to 32K. You can get multiple streams of 8K, 16K, 6K, 32K off of the systems that we can design for just about any environment. But in short, EVO is workflow. EVO is truly the definition of workflow. We are the pioneers of workflow-defined shared storage. Not just shared storage, not just a NAS or a SAN. This is workflow-defined shared storage. And why that's important is because when you get shared storage, the whole reason you go and search out a solution like that is to improve productivity, improve efficiency, improve your workflow. So it's not good enough anymore to just have a NAS where everyone's connected to it and to have just centralized storage. You need more accelerators. You need things that can take your production to the next level. And that's the stuff that comes with EVO. So where is EVO? Who uses EVO? It might sound cliche, but literally everybody. Government institutions, broadcasters, game development, film, video, education, audio production, sports, esports, houses of worship, universities. It never ceases to amaze me who is creating content and needs to be more organized, needs to have collaboration or to be able to work from anywhere and access this media. So just a small sample of some of our partners that are using EVO. You've got companies like HBO. You've got companies like Netflix. I think we've all heard of them. Disney, Deluxe, Basilic Fly, Gaia, VMware. You got companies like Microsoft, who I'd like to point out makes their own server software. But when they want to make video production and do media production, they don't even use their own server. They use ours. And they've bought more than once. So there's no buyer's remorse either. Google has standardized on our systems throughout the world. DJI, one of the funnest tools of the past 5 years. You name it. It really is in just about everywhere. Facebook, Harvard, you name it. It's everyone has taken advantage of it. And our again, to kind of point out, all of these are repeat customers. And that's when I know when we have a repeat customer, that's the true mark of success. Not the first one. Anyone can say, this will do that. This is going to help you. But it's after someone buys it and uses it for years, and they come back and they say, I want more, I want another. That's what we're doing. That's why EVO. That's why SNS. So with that being said, I'd like to pass off to my esteemed colleague, James. James is actually in the region, and we're going into some of the tech specs and some of the bits and bytes and the speeds and feeds and a lot more of the good stuff under the hood. So take it away, James. Thanks.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank
Yeah,
you, Ryan. And thank you, everyone, for taking the time this afternoon to join us. Let's jump in and see how we can help you with your workflow. So the first question is, how do we redefine workflow for you? It's simple. We redefine your workflow by providing a full suite of advanced software tools at no extra cost, right? That is our USP. Here's a highlight of what is included with every EVO. ShareBrowser, it's a very easy to use media asset management software. It is designed to help you work, not add layers of complexity. Slingshot allows you to set up manual and schedule automation tasks, so repetitive file moving can be taken care of by EVO, so you keep creating, not copying files. And Nomad, as Ryan has mentioned briefly, it's a desktop tool that helps you copy proxies or high-res files to your desktop at home or anywhere else, so you can continue working even in these difficult times. But that's not all. As Ryan has mentioned, this trend started before the COVID. So we think about when we get back to more normal times, the possibility for Nomad to extend your business creative capability by taking on freelance artists from all over the world and allowing them to contribute to your project without the need to relocate them or expand your office. That's a huge cost saving there. Here's a selection of the most common tools and applications we support. ShareBrowser, again, our integrated asset management system. It comes with extensions for editing software like Premiere, After Effects, and Final Cut. We support Avid file system, so you can continue to use the bin locking features in Media Composer. Adobe Project Locking allows simple work groups to collaborate, and we also support productions for Premiere. More on that a little later on. Other than hosting the Resolve database on EVO, you can also send files and folders from ShareBrowser directly into Resolve. All metadata are sent together with the video file. And this is just a short list of supported applications. The way we architect our file and project locking mechanism allows you to configure and add new software easily when they become available. Let's go into a little bit more details. ShareBrowser is designed so you can key in metadata quickly. We call this free-form metadata. Just type in simple keywords into the tag field, some description into the comments field. That's it. It should not be difficult. It should not be challenging for all your team to be able to use it. We can also set up custom metadata fields if your workflow requires them. So for example, if your workflow requires a specific field for project name or client name or anything that you can think of, we can set up a custom metadata just for your workflow. All metadata are searchable, including harvested technical information. So not just the information you key in, but the types of files, the resolution of the files, the frame rates of the files. ShareBrowser can be accessed using a web browser where you can preview video proxies. And if you have WAV or audio, AFF audio files, you can actually see the waveform for those files as well. ShareBrowser allows you to manage all your files and network storage, not just EVO, all the shared storage in your environment from one single application. Now you don't have to go around looking for where your things are. And for those of you with a large backlog of video content, ShareBrowser works with Amazon Recognition AI to quickly generate metadata to make your existing video library searchable. And unlike other solutions, this is a pay-as-you-use model. There is no upfront cost to implement this. Next, let's go into a bit of details about Adobe. So EVO's built-in project locking features can be enabled for the entire Adobe suite of software. It's not just Premiere. If you need to do it for Illustrator, if you need to do it for Acrobat, you can do that as well. If you have multiple artists working on the same project, project locking helps to prevent multiple users from overwriting the same project file by accident. There are many times when this happens in the shared storage, and because there are no backups, a lot of time is wasted trying to recreate the project. As mentioned earlier, we have an extension that you can install, and it gives you direct access to metadata and actual files directly within Premiere and After Effects. What this means is there's no need to switch around different windows. Everything from one application. And when you're ready to move into complex theme-based editing, you can sleep better at night knowing that your EVO has been tested and certified by Adobe to support productions for Adobe Premiere. In fact, SNS, working very closely with Adobe, has the largest test lab for production before it was even released. Now, Final Cut shares many attributes with Premiere, so ShareBrowser works in very similar ways. In Final Cut, you can lock your library when sharing it over a network. By doing so, no one can accidentally move or delete your clips by accident. They just get read-only access. There's also a ShareBrowser extension you can install through the App Store. And with it, you can browse, import media and metadata without ever leaving Final Cut's user interface, very much like in Premiere and After Effects. Our storage is also certified to work with Final Cut 10 by Apple. In fact, Apple's internal QC departments, where they actually test third-party software like from Adobe, like Media Composers, like Resolve and many others, they are actually using EVOs because it helps them speed up what they need to do. So Apple themselves are using us. Next, Media Composers and Pro Tools. Unlike the other solutions on the market, our implementation of the Avid file system is done on the client side rather than on the server side. What this means is a single share folder can now be used by both Media Composers and other NLEs and applications at the same time. So you can stop making 2 copies of every file for Avid and After Effects, and realizing you actually use only half your storage for actual video itself. Pro Tools was the first application we worked with. So remember the recording studio that Ryan mentioned earlier? And we had to network up all the Pro Tools in all the different recording rooms and studios. We have been working on it for the last 22 years. So you are definitely in good hands when it comes to audio production. One last feature we added in the last version of ShareBrowser was the ability to see the waveform of the audio, the actual waveform of the audio file. So now when you browse, you can actually see what all the sound effect and music track looks like. Now, there's some of you out there working with color grading and Resolve. So with Resolve 16 and above, EVO can host the shared database from Resolve that allows multiple users to collaborate on the same project. What that means is there's one less server to buy, there's one less server to manage. As Resolve's architecture do not allow extension panels like Premiere and Final Cut, we have enabled integration directly within ShareBrowser. You can right-click and export both media and metadata directly into Resolve, or if you like, just drag and drop files and folders into the application. It works perfectly well. Excuse me. We have designed a specialty system called EVO DPX. It is designed specifically to support multi-stream, high resolution files used in color grading and VFX. In fact, if you have seen Resolve demos at trade shows, like Broadcast India in the past, they are all powered by SNS EVOs. So Slingshot is our built-in file automation tools. This is a very useful tool for you to build your own custom automation. There's a GUI to help you build those workflows, so there's no need to learn scripts. Slingshot also allows you to build manual automation tasks. For example, once you have completed your work and you need to send the file to another colleague or to a storage destination, Slingshot lets you build a right-click contextual menu to do that automatically. So instead of the need to mount a share and manually copying it. It doesn't sound like much work, right? To mount and copy the work, but just think of how easy it is just to right-click, send the file off, and then continue creating and continue working. Slingshot supports practically all different types of third-party storage blocks available on the market. More importantly, there's no additional cost or capacity limit to manage those third-party storage. All your current investments are well protected. Of course, we hope that once you go EVO, you won't go back to the other types of storage. And for those of you who are technically adventurous, Slingshot includes a RESTful API that you can use, again, at no extra cost, to script your own custom workflow with your existing tool sets to work together. The sky is the limit here. Nomad was released in March 2020, just before travel bans and stay-at-home orders were put into effect around the world. Nomad uses the existing resources on your EVO, like video proxies and database information. By collecting the proxies and renaming them to match the source file names and folder structure, Nomad takes advantage of the offline-online workflow, the traditional offline-online workflow that I'm sure we are all familiar with. So in these difficult times, there are already enough stress for every one of us. We should not need to learn a new editing interface just to keep working. For non-editorial users, Nomad also allows you to download high-resolution files. Once these files are safely on a computer, there's no need to keep connecting to the EVO in the office. We all know how unstable internet bandwidth can be when everybody is working from home. Nomad works on both Mac and Windows operating system and supports all creative applications. Since March, Nomad has been helping customers like Google, like Oregon State University, like the telco Sprint, Australia Dental Association, and many, many more to work remotely. Whether you're working in a studio, in an office, or at home, or even at the beach, EVO has the workflow tools to help you continue working. So why is the EVO the ultimate shared storage server? We provide complete workflow solution by including our entire software suite for unlimited users for free with no licensing fee. We do that because we do not believe in constantly charging our customers for additional features. Once you buy an EVO, you should be able to do whatever you want with it. EVO will adapt as your business changes, like what is happening today. You should not be penalized by having to pay for features you did not think you need in the past. It is all there for you, ready to go. Our hardware and software suites are optimized for creative applications. No matter what your environment may be, it could be broadcast, it could be VFX, 3D, audio, video post, we have the right solution for you. Now let's hear what some of our customers have to say. We have 2 short video testimonies coming up. I hope the audio on those videos are not too loud, and I apologize if you are. We try our best to balance it. And let me introduce the first customer. It is Blend Studio, who is founded in 2003. Blend Studio is a full-service production studio based in Springfield, Missouri, and Missouri is actually our home state in the US for SNS as well. Clients of Blend Studio includes Boulevard Brewing Company, Intel, Canon, 7-Eleven, and many, many more. EVO helps Blend's editor, motion graphics designers, producers, stays organized, collaborate seamlessly around a secure and high-speed storage. Let's have a look.
My name is Brandon Goodwin, and I am the executive producer and a co-owner here at Blend Studio in Springfield, Missouri. Blend is a full-service video production company, so we work directly with agencies and nonprofits and companies to develop the creative for video projects, and then we also take them all the way through pre-production, into production, on set, whether that's in a studio or on location, and then we actually handle all of our own post-production in-house as well. We have an 8-bay EVO with 96 terabytes of storage. EVO has made us so much more efficient as a small video production company, and I really can't imagine our workflow without it. One person's able to transfer the raw footage, the next person's able to get started on the edit, and then as soon as the edit's ready, we can send it over to another workstation for graphics, and then another workstation for sending these videos to clients. And I think we really take for granted now how much more productive we are and how much safer our footage always is. Before EVO, we basically had all of these little portable hard drives, and we were constantly passing those back and forth, and it was a lot to manage. We don't have a dedicated network or IT person. It's just all of us producers figuring out all the tech as well. And EVO is easy enough to figure out, but if we ever need help, we just jump on the phone or an email with SNS, and they do a great job walking us through exactly how to take care of anything that we don't figure out on our own. A dedicated NAS of this size and quality seems like a really big investment, but it has exponentially made us more efficient and productive, and it's paid for itself several times over already.
So that is one. The next video is from Andrew Polaski, who is the owner of Abstract Pictures. Abstract Pictures is a Brooklyn, New York-based production company. Andrew and his team uses ShareBrowser to collaborate during content ingest, adding metadata, and selecting the shots they need to use. The editorial team then downloads content using Nomad to edit from home. Abstract Pictures create beautiful films and entertaining music videos and compelling commercials for brands like New Balance, Johnny Walker, Nespresso, and many, many more, all powered by EVO. Let's take a look.
Creativity is an enigma. It's not like there's a scientific or mathematical equation that defines your vision. Whether on or off set, there are a couple of ways I explore it, and collaboration has a huge role in putting the puzzle pieces together. We often look to technology for answers, but ultimately, disciplined workflow will let you create effectively and streamline team communication within the creative process. Being prepared for the unthinkable is a constant in filmmaking, and the last thing you need is to troubleshoot a technical roadblock in the midst of a creative breakthrough. Having a fail-safe in times like these is crucial to keep on schedule. Centralizing your database for remote workflow without disruption is a must. Administering media asset management for multiple users is key, and that's where EVO comes in. Everything in our workflow starts and finishes with EVO. The power of search is a foundational attribute that has drawn us to exclusively work in Final Cut, and I think SNS shares that same DNA by creating a workflow extension that allows us to search, tag, and preview files that marry media and metadata for import right into Final Cut by automatically converting tags into keywords and comments into notes without ever leaving the NLE. SNS is always expanding and optimizing workflow integrations. PostLab has become a counterpart for our workflow by keeping a repository of tasks, versions, and library organization that lives in the cloud. For remote editors, SNS's Nomad deploys proxy assets generated by EVO to get other remote collaborators up and running quickly and efficiently. Frame.io's extension marries nicely into our workflow as well for review, approval, and delivery for our clients. we can synchronize multiple EVOs seamlessly, which allows us to perform beyond proxy editorial tasks from a remote location, like sharing original camera files for VFX or color correction. Time and time again, EVO's been there for us and our collaborators. I'm Andrew, and I'm a filmmaker based in New York.
Right. So those are the two video testimony. Now we have a quote from another customer of ours, Bipolar Studio. Bipolar Studio is a pioneering VFX and VR production company based in the UK that produces incredibly detailed, high-resolution feature films and commercial works for brands like Airbnb, IBM, and Porsche. Bipolar recently completed production on Knights of Shadow for Golden Shore Films and Baidu, which premiered in over 14,000 theaters and IMAX screens across Asia. Projects at Bipolar can range anywhere from stereoscopic VR to full 360 degrees 32-bit CGI in higher than 4K resolution. They need to have access to media assets and projects from any workstation in their studio. So at SNS, we delivered a high-performance online storage with built-in media asset management in the form of ShareBrowser and enough bandwidth for multiple artists working seamlessly on extremely high-resolution animation projects. And they were very happy with the result. And there we are, the quotes from the end user. Next, let's have a look at our family photo. As you can see, EVO comes in a full range of sizes and capacity to suit your operational needs. Let's go into some details. Let's start with the baby of the family. Our EVO Prodigy series comes in both 1U rack-mounted and desktop versions. Both comes with 4 drive bays for 2.5-inch and 3.5-inch hard drives and SSDs. The Prodigy is most commonly used as a media asset management appliance, so customers can manage content on their existing storage. That said, the Prodigy desktop, with its ability to use 3.5-inch large hard drives, is also suitable for small work groups and startups with from 2 to 4 people. Next up, our EVO 8-bay series. Our standard 8-bay is designed for small to medium-sized creative teams. There are options to expand capacity, bandwidth, and the number of users who needs to connect directly to the system. Remember the EVO DPI I mentioned earlier? Even though it looked like a standard storage 8-bay, it's a beast inside. The EVO DPX contains 8 high-performance enterprise-grade SSDs. All the hardware specs and software I/O settings are optimized for the DPX to ensure there are no bottlenecks within the entire system. Every DPX is fully burn-in at the factory to make sure it always has peak performance. Lastly, the EVO 8-bay short depth. This model was actually designed through requests from our broadcast customers. It is named short depth because, you guessed it, the depth of the chassis is shorter than other servers. It needs to be short so it can be mounted inside an OB truck or a flight case. Because of this form factor, the unit is also especially quiet. And what we are seeing is more and more EVO 8-bay short depth being used on production sets, especially productions that requires a lot of on-set preview and the whole data set that comes with it. Next, our EVO 16-bay is our flagship model. It also happens to be our most popular and expandable solution. Designed for medium to large scale customers, it has all the performance and scalability that you would need. The EVO 16-bay is right at home in a post-production studio, to the largest VFX houses, to TV stations. Each 16-bay head unit can be expanded to 960 terabyte with multiple expansion chassis. The unit also supports multiple 1 gig, 10 gig, 25 gig, 40 gig, 50 gig, even 100 gig network connection ports. And the 16-bay gives you the best value versus performance versus capacity. Last, our EVO Nearline series. It consists of the EVO Nearline node, the single chassis, and our EVO cluster. As the name suggests, they're designed to tail off data, to send data off that are not in daily use. The Nearline node is designed for small to medium scale customer who knows the amount of data that they need to work with. The EVO Nearline can scale out to 960 terabyte per stack. And of course, you can add multiple stack as you grow when you need to. Our EVO cluster is built using multiple nearline nodes, EVO nearline nodes. It's designed for large-scale customers, TV broadcasters, and customer who needs to constantly scale out the capacity within a single namespace. The EVO cluster currently supports up to 8 petabyte, and we are testing for it to reach 25 petabyte in the very near future. You can also choose between 4 different cluster protection modes to balance between data security and storage capacity. So after talking about our hardware, let's have a look at our performance. So this is the performance chart that Ryan has mentioned before when we were doing real-world testing. As you can see on the left, it is using all the codecs that we're familiar with. The graph chart on the right shows you the number of streams that each system is able to perform. The test is conducted using a 60-bay model with Mac and Windows workstations. They are connected over a mix of 1 gigabit and 10 gigabit Ethernet using both AFP, Apple File Protocol, and SMB. Tests are done with simultaneous unique clips of different sizes and duration, using all the software that you know and love: Premiere, Final Cut, Media Composer, Resolve, and many others. We run multiple layers of picture-in-picture video on multiple workstations at the same time until we start to see frames dropping. Then we back off the number of layers and we let the test rig run continuously for 48 hours. And then we repeat the test for each codec you see here. So you know it's an extremely extensive test that we are doing. On top of that, we don't cheat. We run the test when the storage is half full, not when it's empty. So it is actually closer to your production environment than just a simple test environment. To bring everything back together, EVO is much more than shared storage. It is the ultimate shared storage workflow solution for post-production, for broadcast, VFX, and anyone else who needs to create content. You get high-performance shared storage with EVO, plus powerful and easy-to-use media asset management with ShareBrowser. Robust file automation and API integration with Slingshot, and of course, our remote editing utility, Nomad. All these tools, remember, are included for free, unlimited license for all users when you get a new EVO. Our products are scalable to accommodate your storage needs and your workflow requirement, from the very small EVO rack mount desktop unit shown here to multiple EVO 8 bays and nearline units that goes up to petabyte class. To arrange for a demo and discussion about your workflow and environment, please feel free to contact Rohan or myself.
So much, James and Ryan, as well, for that really insightful session. I'm sure our audiences have got a lot of takeaways from that. I think, Rohan, I would like you to say a few words as well.
Thanks, Pranali. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. As mentioned by Ryan and James, we SNS can empower your post-production workflow like never before, empowering you to store, edit, and manage entire post workflow, no matter from where you're working today and tomorrow. So the perfect value addition and the tailor-made solution for any kind of VFX, post-production studio, audio, video, and TV station. We have footprints across the India and Bangladesh. In South, we have respective partner, TechFruit Solutions, Concur Technologies. In West, we have GenXL. In North, we have our own presence, RAG Solutions and Media Expert. Reach out to us for anything you want to explore and experience. So thanks again for your time. Thanks, Pranali, for your efforts. And again, the Broadcast India, Manoj and everybody. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you so much, guys. I think that was a really great session with some nice knowledge sharing that happened. I hope all of our attendees enjoyed that. And to end things this evening, I would like to thank the team at Studio Network Solutions, James, Ryan, Melanie as well, who helped us offline. It was a pleasure having you guys on this webinar series that we have. Yeah, coming to the end of it, we look forward to having all of you at the Broadcast India Show Digital Edition, which will take place from the 29th to the 31st of October 2020. Please follow us on all the social media platforms and stay tuned for lots more information that we will be putting up there regarding the show and how you guys can register and be a part of it. Thank you all for logging in today. Stay safe, take care, and have a really good evening.